30 years. All right, let's do it! All I ever wanted to be growing up when I was a kid, I wanted to be a rock star. I was going to tour the world and be famous and all that stuff. So, got a guitar as a young kid. As a teenager, I made, the 3x5 index cards. I took a pen and wrote on there my name, my phone number, the bands I was interested in, and I posted them at the local music stores. The next day or a couple days later when I was working, a guy came in named James. He said, are you the person that put the information up? You were looking for a band? I said, yeah. He said, well, my name is James. I play bass. And I thought, all right. Well, I figured a bass player was going to be the hardest one to find. But as it turns out, there he was. He was the first one to respond. And he said that he knew a guy who played drums. Perfect. So the three of us got together. This was in the summer of 1988. Our very first, practice, if you will. First time we got together was the 4th of July in '88 at Mark's house. Mark Boyd was the guy that he knew that played drums. After the initial meeting on the 4th of July, we realized we wanted to continue, but we had to find another guitar player. And I was thinking we had to find a singer as well because I didn't want to do it. I wasn't a singer. So we found Dave Presson. He was the other guitar player. So there's the four of us. And it was, well, you sing for now. Just until we find a singer. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll give it a shot. And all of a sudden we had shows coming up and we didn't have a singer yet. It was me. I was never planning on being a singer. But there it was. Our first show was at the Bradley Police Station. Upstairs, they've got this big room. I don't know what they ever used it for, but it's this giant room. Horrible for acoustics. The sound was just bouncing all over everywhere. And we were opening for another band, and there were probably 30 or 40 people there. It was kind of cool. We did 3 songs, because that's all we had at the time. We'd only been together for a month. And that was our first show. Second show was in somebody's garage. And then the third show, the third time we performed in front of people was for the entire school. They had an assembly. This was December 20th, 1988. Bradley High School, in front of the entire school, students, staff, the whole thing. We were playing with another band, and we went on second, and we were amped up. We were ready to go. We were just playing some covers, but we were psyched. And as soon as we went out, as soon as we started, we could hear the applause, the yelling, and then we started playing, and the kids started standing up in the front of the stage, and they were getting into it, and we were on cloud 9. didn't know if we were ever going to play to a crowd that big again. That was a lot of people. And it was all people that we knew. Those were kids our age. It was pretty wild. So that first show at the high school really lit something under us. We thought we were really something. Mine anyway, my ego swelled up a bit. Just a bit. And it was a great time. Made a lot of new friends right after that. So after that was all done, we did some more shows. We played a few different places. We weren't old enough to play in bars yet, but we would make our own flyers and staple them up on the telephone poles around town. Photocopy them and just start stapling them everywhere. So ultimately what I wanted to do was start writing my own songs. And if it wasn't going to be for the band had broken up at this point, kind of halfway broken up. They broke up, told me they were breaking up, so I'm out of the band. Then they got back together without me. See? I see what you did there. Anyway, that's all right. We were all still friends. And I wanted to write songs. So I was home with my little Fostex 4-track recorder and my drum machine and my guitars and my amps and went to work. I started writing some stuff, and some of it was fairly decent. So I had this idea, I'm going to make a CD. Nobody in town had made a CD yet. Everybody put out cassette tapes. That was easy. You had a dual tape deck. You'd make one tape and just dub them onto a billion other tapes, put a cover on it, and sell it. Nobody had done CDs yet. I wanted to do that. Somehow CDs seemed more permanent to me, more legit. So the Suckerpunch CD was the first local release that was on a CD. There was no way I couldn't pick Mark for this project. He's so good. He was actually a pretty sought after drummer by other bands but he was still so young. He still couldn't play in bars. But he had the energy and the equipment and the chops. He was forming big time, very, very quickly. You got to remember, when we met, he had just got his first drum set. And, this was only a few years later, and he was just killing it. How could I not have Mark play for this project? Foul Play had a rehearsal space in the Diversitech campus in Manteno. So he said, well, we'll rehearse out there. And we did, the two of us. We went out there and really nailed the songs down. And we went out there for, I think, 3 months. We were out there rehearsing. I think one of the reasons I liked to record this stuff on video was so I could, almost like a football coach, you film the team, and then you can go back later and watch it and say, I like this, I didn't like this needs to be cut out, whatever. That was my idea of improving, because in the moment you're just playing, you don't sometimes realize what you're doing. This way I could go back and watch it.
Remember when you used to be able to talk and belch? And shit.
I lose those talents over the years.
Well, you're getting old, man. Turn around, show us. There it is. Old.
There was one night when we had some friends come out to rehearsal to join us and kind of give us some feedback. This was a little later on, after we were getting ready to go into the studio to record, and we had some food out there, had some pizzas, and just joked around, goofed around, played some music, and had a good time.
song and you fucked it up.
We got that video to prove it.
All right. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I was much more agile then than I am now. That was a long time ago. So we entered the studio. This was at United Technique in Moni, Illinois. We went there in March of 1993. This was somebody I believe that Mark knew. The owner's name was a guy named Ray Nimme. And the studio was in this like run-down shack of a house. Looked like total garbage on the inside. And I guess, truth be told, it wasn't too much better on the inside, but he had some killer equipment and the ability to record us. So we figured, let's go see what he can do.
Not that long. Maybe about 3 years.
I'm starting to play.
Give me the hi-hat.
So when we recorded the drums, he was set up in the big room. We had the recording console and all that stuff in the mixing room. Mark was set up, and then I was in another room with a big sliding glass door that closed with my guitar and amp. So I was playing. We were playing together, but only he was being recorded. And he got this stuff nailed down most of the time just in one take. We were so well rehearsed. I think there was only twice he had to kind of stop and start over, do a retake. But his drum parts were done within an hour. He hung around through the whole process, all the recording and all that stuff. He was up there, but he worked quick and he worked really, really well. Live from New York, it's Saturday night.
Live. Live.
Hunter isn't my style. Take one and rolling.
After the drums were done, it was time to get the bass tracks down. And so for bass, I would sit in the mixing room with them because there was no amp. I was plugged straight in, listen to his drums, record the bass lines. And that went over pretty well. It was a kind of a dimly lit scene. I don't know if that was for some kind of ambiance or whatever, but all I remember from seeing the video footage back then was this shining, bright, bald spot that was forming in the back of my head. I was prematurely balding, had this long, scraggly hair that I was trying desperately to hang on to. You see where that leads to, right?
Great. Next to him. My hand doing the bass part on the. It's like.
What was that again with the tongue? One more time. There you go.
This is for you, Mark.
Yuck.
What song is this?
I don't know.
Man of the hour, take one.
That'd be
roll.
Man of the Hour.
This is gonna be the first one on the CD.
Payback.
Most of the songs on here were my own, but I did want to put one cover song on here from my favorite band, Kiss. And I wanted it to be a song from their first album, since this was my first actual release. That was symbolic somehow to me. So I was going to pick between Firehouse and Black Diamond, and Black Diamond was the winner. After the bass and drums were laid down, it was time to go into record all the guitar parts. And I realize now, looking back at this stuff, I was a better guitar player 30 years ago than I am now. I practiced all the time. Now I just kind of play when I have to. I was growing then. And somewhere along the way, I just kind of plateaued and maybe even dipped a little.
Go ahead, keep playing. Where's that other tape at? Is it in there? You ever
It would have been very handy to have a talkback mic, in there when I was recording because there's this huge glass. So Ray and Mark and whoever else was back there in the console room, I'm out there with my guitar and amp. He's got a button he can hit and talk to me through my headphones, but when I talk, he can't hear me, so I'm trying to use hand gestures and try to talk louder so he can hear me through the glass. It didn't work so well. Maybe we should have thought that through.
Yeah.
That's a workout.
After the solo to the end.
It's gonna be cool. I'm gonna get into shape, start doing the sit-ups.
What?
Back in.
That's one real diet.
Hold on a second. Hold on, guys. Say that again.
From the solo to where we start the end of the song.
I'm gonna rewind it. You tell me where, okay?
Solo to where we start the end of the song.
Lead guitar was never my desired thing to do. I liked rhythm guitar. That was where I knew that was my comfort zone, so that was where I wanted to stick. I was just going to stay there. Never really had a desire to play solos or any of that fast, flashy stuff. I knew that was my I knew my limitations. So I tried to stay within that. I didn't try to stray too much from that.
Oh, do you? Well, I'll wait till I'm working on a good jump. Just put on the front part, down the speedway. You got some liquor. You guys want any? You want something, buddy? Come on. What's a mad dog? What's sugary that'll make the place feel good? I just want something that tastes good. What the fuck's that? That's pretty cool, man. Yeah. I liked it.
I liked it. I liked it. The feedback.
It had a good Stone Temple Pilot thing going on. It's more than 6-pack before. What? $4.50. I don't like Pilot. Wine tastes. It's like wine. I like the kilo.
Yeah. It looked like paper.
I have the stinging pain of the golf can bag. That shit fucks me up. When you bleed? Yeah.
There was one song on there. It was a slow song called Heart of Gold. And I wrote it for my girlfriend at the time. And it's this nice, soft, romantic thing. And I'm sitting in the console room playing this just clean guitar thing, this real nice thing. And they knew why I wrote the song. And they're trying to distract me by holding up like Penthouse magazines, Hustler centerfolds. I'm trying to be nice and romantic, and these guys are just being a bunch of bad influences. Horrible. There was a part in Heart of Gold that I was really proud of. It's a soft tune, but instead of a traditional style kind of guitar solo, I wanted to do something different. So in the musical break, if you will, it's on the guitar, but it's all harmonics. There are no actual notes. I was just hitting harmonics to make this kind of ringing, almost like bell sounds. Came up with that, and I was really pretty proud of that. So, yeah.
Hey, dude, what you gonna do? Tony's coming out, ain't taking sides. Red, black, round, jets all across the board. He won the first game, now he don't lose no more. Gotta think clearly, he knows your next move. Gotta deceive the man looking at you. Your next decision may lose you the game. I bet you never forget his name.
I think it took 3 or 4 days to mix, but those days were, spread out over a few weeks' time, just because of work schedules, and he had other bands that were scheduled to come in, and but we got it down. The days that we scheduled, they were full, several hours in a day, and he did a great job. He did a good job of showing me how it all works, teaching me some of it, showing me exactly what he was going to do. He had ideas for some effects. He would run them by me, and I would either say yes or no. Ray did a great job.
Let me see. Do you want that in there?
It wouldn't bother me. Play it again with the feedback. I want to hear something.
Okay.
It's all right.
I think the feedback should stay in there. It just gives it a feel.
It does, because whenever I hear something with feedback, if a solo, if I'm listening to something and the solo's getting ready to start, I hear a little feedback, I just realize how loud they're playing.
That was a cool place to go. And United Technique is actually still open to this day. They're up in Chicago. They moved from the shack in Monee, and now they're up in Chicago. Check them out.
No, because the other speaker's on.
The idea that I had was I was going to record this CD and then form a band and call the band Suckerpunch. Mark had already said that he would be the drummer, so I needed to find a couple more guys to round this thing out. And it never happened. I was working with one other guy, and we thought we might have something, but as time went on, it all just fell apart. So I was kind of disappointed by that because I thought these songs were pretty strong. There were some good ones, but it never happened.
You like that one?
For advertising, I did the same thing that we had done before with the band. Had these big flyers printed up, 11 by 17 posters, and we'd go around and start stapling them to the telephone poles and taping them up in any store that would let us. That was how we had to advertise. That was the only way. We didn't have a lot of money to spend, so we didn't, do a lot of newspaper stuff, radio stuff. There was no way we were going to make that money back.
I begged her, honey, please, but she still kept saying no. She kicked and screamed, get off me. I said, we ain't got far to go. 10 long years in a 6x9 cell.
What is this shit, shrink wrap?
Yeah.
The cover is very plain because I had this idea. It was going to be a face on the front of the cover, like a close-up of a face getting punched. Vicious Uppercut was the name of the album, so I wanted to have a visual to go along with this, what I thought, really good music. This hard driving kind of music. So I thought to have a face on it, being punched, that kind of graphic brings an image. And I was going to have somebody, I was trying to find someone to draw it for me. I didn't want it to be an actual picture. I wanted somebody to draw it. I never found anybody. So by the time I had to send the stuff off to be printed, I had no cover. It was just a typeset on a white background. Later on, I see, a couple years later, I see this group Pantera, and they've got this image on their album cover of this face being annihilated by a punch. And I looked at it and thought, that's exactly what I wanted. All right, I suppose Pantera can have it, whatever. Over the years since then, I've been in different bands, I've done some different things, and some of these Suckerpunch songs get played live. I still love the songs, and any chance I can get, I'll sneak them into the set list. I think Hyper Isn't My Style, King Me, Man of the Hour, That's What You Get. Those have all been played live in various bands, different years. But yeah, they've been out there.
You don't see it hasn't happened to you yet, but if you lose my mind,
I'm done performing live, but I'll always record. I've got my home studio upstairs, and I love putting out music. I love doing original music. Occasionally I'll do some covers now, but I want to keep putting out music as long as I physically can, as long as I'm able, because I want there to be something left after I'm gone. You know, the day is going to come when I'm no longer walking this earth. I've got kids, I've got grandkids. Someday I'll have great grandkids, and I want them to know who I was. And I think everybody should do that. Start a journal, you know, a diary, write a book, paint, make music, whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you like to do that, because there are going to be generations that come up behind you that are they're going to want to know who you were. So let them have that piece of you.
Say out of life, you want up on your size. Big people know you every day.